Welcome to this short video for parents on a multiplication activity for your children. The purpose of the video is to help you support your son or daughter practice their non-calculator multiplication skills. Throughout the video, the activity uses some very straightforward number grids, and by following the examples in the video, you'll be able to support your son or daughter to practice their multiplication skills. The only resources you'll need are pens, paper, and of course a calculator to help you work out answers and check them, and also to encourage your son or daughter to explore the patterns they discover as they practice their skills. Multiplying methods. Students at any age benefit from being secure with non-calculator methods for multiplying numbers. Here are some examples where students will be familiar with at least one, if not all of them. Let's have a look at the activity, but don't forget the aim is practicing non-calculator multiplication methods. It's also handy to have a calculator available just to check answers as you go along as well. On the screen there's a 5 by 10 number grid. You can see there's 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 10 rows going down the screen, and every number from 1 to 50 is in this particular grid. What we're going to do is we're going to select a set of 4 of these numbers. There we go, 2, 3, 7 and 8, and we're going to do some mathematical operations on them. So let's just take it out of the grid. There we go, 2, 3, 7 and 8. Now the activity is multiplying the top left-hand number by the bottom right-hand number, 2 times 8, which in this case gives us 16. And then we're going to multiply the top right-hand number by the bottom left-hand number, 3 times 7, which is 21. Now, on the face of it, that's quite a simple calculation to start with, and though there's not a lot going on here, we can see that the difference between 16 and 21 is in fact plus 5. And is this anything interesting? It might be. It might be of interest in a 5 by 10 number grid, but we need to do a bit more to see if it is of interest. So let's start with the number grid again, and this time choose a different set of numbers. There we go, 19, 20, 24 and 25. Let's take them out of the number grid and start the procedure again. So it's the top left-hand number, 19, multiplied by the bottom right number, 25. So 19 times 25 is 475 in this case. And then that's followed by the top right-hand number, 20, multiplied by the bottom left-hand number, 24, which in this case gives us 480. And if we look at 475 and 480, it's a gap of plus 5 again, which is sort of more interesting this time. And it makes you wonder, is there something going on in this number grid that we would always get plus 5 as the difference between these two calculations? And of course, the only way to check this out is to try it again. Here's a new number grid. Again, nice and clean. Let's select 4 more. There we go. Take them out of the grid so we can just look at them. So we've got 26, 27, 31, 32. So we're going to multiply the top left number again by the bottom right, 26 times by 32, and the top right hand number by the bottom left, 27 times by 31. And we're interested this time, will these answers give us a difference of 5? So why don't you have a go at that yourself and just pause the video, and then we'll come back in a second and check our answers. So welcome back. We can see here 26 times 32 is 832, 27 times 31 is 837. Hopefully you got those answers correct. And is the difference 5? Well, 32 plus 5 is 37. So yes, indeed, there's a difference of 5 here. So the benefit of doing this with your children is that you can get them to practice multiplying numbers together using one of the standard methods that they've been taught. So it's very good practice of that skill. It's good practice at understanding and using their times tables in that process as well. And at the same time, there is something going on in this number grid here, because we always seem to get a difference of 5. Another way to explore this is to actually now change the grid. So here's a 10 by 10 number grid. Again, you could highlight 4 numbers and you'd multiply the top left by the bottom right and the top right by the bottom left and see what that gave you. When you're doing this with your children, what do you notice? Is there anything the same as before that we were doing with the 5 by 10 grid? Is there anything different? And clearly here, there's a lot of scope to try out lots of different places on the grid to explore this. It might also be that you do discover something in the 10 by 10 grid and have time to practice these skills a little bit more. So you can try different sorts of grids. The left-hand one is a 3 by 10 grid. Could have gone a lot longer. The one on the right is a 7 by 10 grid. And what do we notice if we do this in these? So again, it's just about selecting a block of 4 numbers, multiplying the top left by the bottom right and the top right by the bottom left. Same in the 7 by 10 grid, and then just trying that out in different places. And again, answering those questions. What do you notice? Is there anything the same as is going on in the 5 by 10 grid and the 10 by 10 grids? Is there anything different? So hopefully that will be an interesting exercise to explore, but at the same time practicing a really useful skill that will always help students, whether they're in year 7, year 10 or 11, or sometimes in fact in year 12 or 13. And if you would prefer to sort of create your own grids on squared paper, you could download 1 centimeter squared paper from this link. And finally, if your son or daughter is feeling very confident with their algebra and would really like to practice this and explore this particular situation a little further, they could do this. Remember this from the 5 by 10 grid at the beginning. As a hint, if they were interested in having a little look at the algebra, here's the first step in just looking at that and going, what's going on here? Can I look at this in an algebraic sense? And so in summary, first of all, we need to prepare. So collecting paper, pens, and a calculator, of course, for the activity. Initially, create the 5 by 10 grid on some paper. Check which multiplication method your son or daughter is really happy to use. It may be one of the 3 at the beginning of the video, or it actually could be a different method that they know. Then start with the very first set of 4 numbers I used at the beginning of the video to demonstrate the particular method you'd like them to have a go at. And then encourage your son or daughter to explore that activity in the 5 by 10 number grid, and then create some of the other ones and see what they find there. And finally, I'd just like to say thank you for listening, and I hope that you found this video useful.